problem at hand. It's addressing that a scenario that is at hand. While the larger solution is actually having a virtual 360 consulting platform, right? I believe in the spirit of the summit, making MSMEs future ready. It's not just addressing the problems at hand. It's also addressing the problems that are along the journey that would make this independent, unmaneuvered, unguided SMEs or MSMEs into high growth companies that could potentially be capable of, say, an SME listing or an PE fundraise. Today, SME is the quantum, or the MSME is the quantum, or the nature of business that they do. It's hardly it's making its need. It's largely to do about getting through the processes of the day, getting through the process of the month, getting through the targets of the year. But if you really look at if there is a vision and a larger goal towards enabling and growing systems in place, you largely see great lacuna, whether it is in terms of having system integration, whether it is corporate governance, whether it is virtual CFO systems in place, or whether it is your IT enablement. So hence I would say the second aspect of this approach, the virtual 360 consulting, addresses actually the problems that are that actually enable the SMEs strengthen over the journey to actually be capable companies that can actually be worthy of private equity investments, worthy of being SME listed. So I will talk about the first context on a very brief, since my previous counterparts already touched base upon it. Digital funding. These are a full spectrum of solutions. At least the larger solutions that I deal with, that we deal with today. The ones on the left side, the secured and the unsecured funding structures, my colleagues have already touched base upon it. Hence, I took the benefit to rather focus on the right side of the subject, which is structured debt. Structured debt today is largely, I would say, these are customized solutions. Particularly now, the reason I mentioned it's an investment banker viewpoint is these are solutions that needs to be sat down with a consultative mindset, understanding as to what else is possible apart from the conventional working capital, ODCC, term loans and project finance kind of capacities, whether it is secured or unsecured without a collateral. Now today, across the MSME space, I would address this structured debt offerings, whether it is venture debt, revolving credit, RBF, invoice discounting, NCDs, PO financing, bridge financing, acquisition financing. All these are broadly understanding the end goal or the end requirement of the entity, right? And understanding how to structure it, keeping into account how do you underwrite the credit norms, how do you meet the end goals, how do you make the transaction happen. I would say these are largely digital solutions to a certain extent, to a rather greater extent actually. But the fact that today these solutions are being deployable to the market, even the thought of even having the solution deployed to the market is by the fact that these are supported by the digital evaluation mechanism behind it. I mean, the various evaluation mechanisms and KYC authentication mechanisms that the bankers spoke of earlier, these take a little above it, so that you can look at the entity with a more broader and a more introspective mindset, right? So otherwise, the solutions are pretty much self-explanatory from the nomenclature itself. So I wouldn't dwell on it more. Because again, the entire funding aspect or doing the fundraising alone is part of fixing the problem. It's part of addressing the problem as of now. But the larger aspect that responds to the spirit of the summit is actually a consultative approach. Hence, SME 360 accelerator. Before I say what happens under this SME 360 accelerator, I would say what is it all about. SME 360 accelerator is, in very simple terms, a unified holistic platform that is all about the entire spectrum of business consulting services for that an SME and MSME might need, right? From covering from incorporation to business advisory to legal to corporate governance to virtual CFO services to the end milestone of fundraising to an extent of even listing. So today, when we, this is a first of a kind pilot or an accelerator that we're doing in the Hyderabad ecosystem now, with the collective guidance of PHub, all the major trade bodies, CII, HICIA, and all the major trade bodies and the business forums put together. Because today, individually in silos, we are not able to address the end-to-end solution that an SME might need, that actually builds them from being an independent and unguided entities to actually grow into high-growth entities that could be funded or listed. So hence the platform, this broadly talks about 4 pillars of support. Business consulting, it covers all aspects of your incorporation to business reports to due diligence to your valuation aspects. Strategic consulting is all to do about business growth, BD, business growth strategies. You know, how do you access new markets? How do you take to new markets? How do you enter new product areas? I mean, it's a very detailed scope of an exercise.
A small request, could you actually finish your presentation?
Yeah, this is my last slide. Virtual CFO advisory is the crux of this consulting from the point of view that one large element that SMEs lag, because of which you can call them independent entities or unguided entities, is for the fact that for this, they don't have a full-time CFO on board. They need a guidance from a CFO who could take them to this longer journey of getting the systems enablement in place, corporate governance in place, working capital structuring in place, to the extent of fundraising, which is the last aspect of it. Now, fundraising is the last solution. It is largely to do at particular life stage of the business, what might be required, like the structured and unstructured solutions that I just spoke a while ago. But broadly, this platform is over and above the fundraising aspect of it. It's broadly building the other support and the long run elements towards actually making them growth entities that today a local SME ecosystem can be proud of. Not just being independent entities, but capable high growth firms which can be worthy of being listed. That's it for me, guys. We can take up the Q&A session during the lunch hour, because I guess we are already lagging behind time.
Yeah, we're behind schedule, Mr.
Thanks.
Thank you for the informative session, Mr. Now I request Mr. Himanshu to give his presentation.
Thank you so much. Good to have the presentation up. To start with, I'll just give you a broad outlook of what SIDBI's been and what SIDBI's been doing, although most of us do know what it is. We have been around for more than 3 decades. Largely, we are a refinancing agency. We do a lot of institutional finance. Our institutional finance book stands at more than 3.5 lakh crores today. You think of a bank, most of them are customers, including the private one. We do a lot of direct credit. A few of our customers are here. We have a lot of stress off late. Of course, we've been doing green finance for nearly 1.5 decades when we started with JICA. But green finance has taken a new fillip with the Prime Minister announcing Panchamrit. We do a lot of work on cluster development, venture capital, guarantee programs, policy advocacy, and of course, we'll talk about the digital initiatives which SIDBI has done of late, so that it comes in with the theme of the program. A small snapshot of where we stand. Today, we started in 91 with a balance sheet of around 8,000 crores, and today we closed at around 3.75 lakh crores. We aim to close this year much higher. We are a AAA rated institution established by an Act of Parliament. We have more than 95 branches. very lean organization with only 1,000 employees. And we are 100% owned either by Government of India or Government of India owned entities. Just as a snapshot, I wanted to leave this thought behind with people that green finance today is something which is very important to us. We have been trying to embed the green finance culture into our clients, and we also work on the Green India financial systems along with the Shakti Foundation and the AFD, who are an international partner, for shaping the dialogue with IBA, with RBI, and with the Government of India. We have a lot of international partners there. We have done a saving of around 1,800 gigawatt hours per annum through our interventions so far. Some numbers are there. We have a solar mission where we want to actually put up 2,500 solar rooftops every year. We also have a specialized team for financing EVs and EV related infrastructure. We bring out Sustainability Perception Index in collaboration with one of the finest agencies in India. And we also run the GRID project, which is largely concentrating on switching fuels and other things to make it greener. Then we talk of what have been the digital initiatives that SIDBI has done so far. We've been largely, all our digital initiatives have been based on utilizing and anchoring on the various digital public infrastructure which is available, the identity rails, which is Aadhaar, PAN, KYC, bureaus, e-sign, GST, ITR, the payment rails, which is UPI, RuPay, NASH, Bharat QR, Aadhaar enabled payments, and now of course the data sharing rails, which come in form of the Open network and account aggregators. So we talk a little bit about the various digital platforms which SIDBI has created as a public good. We started with the Udyami Mitra platform, and today we have 160,000 bank branches, 160,000 bank branches on the platform, and 200,000 community centers which are integrated on the platform, which can be approached to getting in-principle approvals for small loans through the platform. We run 7 flagship Government of India programs for credit and subsidy for these schemes, including the MOVA program, and approximately 50 lakh units have been supported through this. Then we have the PSB 59, which was spoken about recently. It is an outcome of an initiative which we started in 2018. We tried to create a credit marketplace which actually democratizes credit. So you, as a customer, has a choice, where you want to pick up your credit from. This provides quick loan offers and then more than 30 lenders. And you will be actually surprised to know that in the last 3 years, this has done 55,000 crores worth of sanctions. 55,000 crores, not a small amount. And out of this 55,000 crores, and these are MSME loans, nearly 42,000 crores have got disbursed. So, there's a lot of talk that you get in-principle approvals, but a lot of them fructify. Then, of course, there's the RXIL, which is the TREDS platform run by SIDBI and NSE jointly, which addresses the delayed payment of MSME, which MSMEs have been facing of long. On the platform, nearly 25,000 crores of worth of invoices have been discounted. We have purchasers as well as 2,000 MSMEs on the platform. The latest initiative which was done with the Ministry of MSME is to actually create, formalize the informal sector and created the Udyam Assist platform, which allows the informal units to register and obtain a Udyam Aadhaar. As we actually progressed and SIDBI did a lot of things on microfinance, and then we saw that the cost of credit to people who are seeking microfinance or moving up the chain from microfinance was too high, and we thought that we should come out with a scheme where we can actually reduce this cost. So to make affordable credit available to the informal micro enterprises, we do loans up to 50,000 to 500,000, that is 5 lakh rupees on these, and these are totally platform driven digital loans. There have been more than 1 lakh beneficiaries so far, and 85% of them are women. We work with MFIs, we work with banking correspondent companies, corporates and aggregators, even NBFCs in implementing this. And this is largely a digital process where application, credit appraisal and documentation is all digital. Only the monitoring and follow-up is physical. So we call it a physical process so far because monitoring is something which you've not yet been able to figure out as to how to do it. So just to take you in, you have an app where a person applies for a Prayas loan through the mobile app. Same eKYC, geotagging, bureau check, etc. happen through the app as he gives permissions. And then on the Prayas web portal, the SIDBI appraising officer will appraise and close in the loan. And once the risk rating and sanction rejection has been done, on signing off on the digital document execution, the loan will be disbursed. So this is an end-to-end digital process which is working very smoothly with around 51 partners in the country. To address what our friend Ahmed was saying, that invoice discounting is a one-to-one kind of thing, and to democratize that, SIDBI worked with the RBI sandbox and we have piloted and now commercialized GST CII. So this actually rides on the GST database and allows people to discount their invoices and obtain instant credit against them. So there is a three-stage journey. You register, you get a loan offer, and you do e-documentation, and then you get a disbursement and a repayment. Just taking you across. So these are the building blocks. You have 35% share of GST coming from MSMEs. GST CII promotes cash flow-based lending, encourages registration of MSMEs on GST, and collaborates with industry initiatives. We have standardized open protocols used. OCEN, account and aggregator framework, India SAP, which is GST and e-sign, stamp, e-nash, etc. And it is end-to-end digitized. What the journey is that you go on the app, use your mobile number, register, give access to your GST details. Once you are registered, you can choose your banks and loan, you can do your e-documentation. And once you have done your e-documentation, you get a limit. And on the basis of that limit, you can discount your invoices. And you get disbursement into the identified account. The repayment is through e-nash. So you set up a auto debit and disbursement. This is actually going to be very useful for people in future. We feel that this will actually do away with the working capital. So this is where the future is going. This is the disbursement. Then of course we have something which is...
Sorry for interrupting. Could you actually rush through it? Could you actually rush through it quickly so everybody's...
Yeah, this is the last slide.
Thank you, sir.
So this is the last slide which I have, which is a product which we have bought in, which is end-to-end digitized for MSME. It is a straight-through process which uses all the digital public infrastructure, GST, NCA, ITR. All of us do the same thing. My friends at Union also do the same thing. We also, in addition, use risk assessment using Jakarta, FitScore, which is a product of CIBIL and OPL, and CMR. And the underwriting is entirely end-to-end digital, and so is the documentation of this. So you need to get into our website, log in, create your requirement, and loans up to 1 crore, depending on your leverage, etc., can be done, can be disbursed within 48 hours.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.
We are going to talk only about MSMEs. We are not going to talk about how India is shining, how the world is doing a roaring business, and how we should actually work for our pie in the sky. No, we will only talk about here and now and about MSMEs. Second, we are not going to talk about jargon. The huge tectonic shift in the landscape of MSMEs is going to be extremely beneficial in orbit shifting our economy. We are not going to talk about those things. Okay, that's jargon. 3, we will actually talk about your questions. So it's going to be very, very relevant. It's going to be probably addressing some of the concerns that you may have, and collectively we can find some solutions. And the topic is what are the challenges in adopting digital technologies by MSMEs. As simple as that. We'll stick to challenges and probably come up with some solutions here and there. So that's going to be broadly why you have to be part of this session. We will exactly take 30 minutes, not more than that, because one of our panelists will have to catch a flight, so there's no other option. This story everyone knows. What is a micro, what is small, and what is medium. I'll skip this thing. If your plant, equipment and machinery, everything put together, investment is not more than 1 crore, and your turnover, annual turnover is not more than 5 crores, it is micro. And then if it is 10 crore investment and more than 50 crore turnover, it is small. And of course 50 and 250, this is what everyone knows. I'll skip all my slides and I'll go directly to, everyone knows these things. We have done very recently 2 action research projects. One is Digital Street. This is adoption of digital technologies by street vendors. So there are lots of learnings out there. That is one. And second, the ongoing project is called Digital Green. This is adoption of digital technologies for environmental sustainability. Bearing the sustainability in mind, how do we adopt and be conscious of the offshoots of using these technologies? I think these are the broad 2 areas in which we have been researching. The first one is already over. We have submitted the reports to the stakeholders. The second one is still going on. We have partnered with a German NGO and we are doing this research in various cities, Hyderabad to Delhi to Rajasthan, that is Jaipur, to Bangalore, Pune, Dehradun, Ahmedabad, so on and so forth. I'll talk about very few. I'll skip all these things. These are just backup kind of material. I'll just go to thank you slide so that you listen to me. See, the challenges that we are facing are multifold. The challenges that we are facing are multifold. First, in terms of adopting technologies itself. A lot of these people, when we have spoken to garment manufacturers, when we have spoken to micro level entrepreneurs who are into supplying to these garment manufacturers, who live in Bangalore, who live in Tirupur, who live in small areas, Nalgonda and all these locations. Most of them do not have the overall bigger grasp of what they should be conscious of. They are more worried about movement of their product and a cross movement of money for their product. I think this is in simple language what they are worried about. The large numbers that we project, we have to look at the percentages of the segments. And the largest segment that we have here and we have to worry about, like in agriculture we say, there are a large number of small acre holding farmers. Similarly here also micro is going to be very large. But if our solutions or talks are not focused on these large segments, it's again going to be off the mark. So when we spoke to these small people, when we spoke to these entrepreneurs, they understand what we are talking. It is not that they don't have any understanding. Are they ready to adopt? They may be ready to adopt. But the dominance is in terms of areas of, being manageable, having a manageable cash flow. I think that's where everything works around. If it is working very well with respect to their market, if it is working very well with respect to their produce, and if the intermediaries are rewarding them suitably, I'm sure, then they will be able to focus on these things. The theories that we carry from here and we teach them in terms of, say for example, mobile broadband. Everyone knows mobile broadband. Cloud computing, a lot of people understand cloud computing. Big data, a lot of people understand that. IoT and its applications, everyone understands that. But will they get down to using it? What are the challenges that we have faced? Some of the challenges I have identified here. Obviously, they are there on the slides. Now, when we go back into specific discussions, we have 3 distinguished gentlemen here. Now, when we talk about the specific challenges that they can list and also when they can address some of the challenges that you may raise, that will be much, much more relevant. I'll stop here and we'll begin now. Now, let us pivot this. How many of you have questions for this session? You can raise your hands. Please raise your hands. 2-3 से नहीं चलेगा. 2-3 से तो नहीं चलेगा. हाँ, ठीक है. Yes. What we will do is we will pivot it. We will take questions first, and our responses will be dovetailed to address those questions, and that's going to be the discussion. Okay? Please, questions. Yes, Divakar. You don't need a mic. Go ahead.
Yeah, great session since morning. There are a lot of metrics have been spoken. We have 7 crore MSMEs, and there is a distinguished micro, small, medium, and all that. And we have 5,000 companies which are listed in stock exchange. Out of that, 1,200 to 1,300 companies contribute to 90% of market capital. What kind of a democratization we have done? If you see the numbers, it should be allowing and enabling MSMEs to really, get into that number of listed companies. So past 60 years, what we have been doing, are we happy what we are doing? What should be done?
Okay, good framework related question. We will respond. I think we'll give that to Satya only. Yes, Satya.
I'm just paraphrasing the question. So, from this session's perspective, if I paraphrase your question, that how can the MSMEs, or what stops the MSMEs to get into, to leverage this market capitalization part? Because as you can see, only 90%, out of the 7 crore, only 5,000 are listed, and out of which only 1,200 contribute to 90%. So why are we missing out? Can digital help there? Can I put the question like this, and then we will try to answer.
As you said, we'll take all the questions first. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I think I don't need a mic.
Yeah, absolutely no.
I always, as I started, I worked first. I almost worked 20 plus years in private banking. So when I started as a training and development, whenever we went to any banks, because I kept on hearing that mudra loan, this, that, kahani, wo kahani. To ask any nationalized bank, the BM, he doesn't know anything. So how do you say that MSMEs, and that are women entrepreneurs, beti bachao and all that, huh? But jisko bhi puche, aisa kuch nahi hai, bada message nahi hai. I being a private banker, I'm telling you again, huh? So where are we, how do we contribute to this? That's it.
So again, if I paraphrase your question just for this thing, so how can we ensure that the stakeholders who are supposed to help the MSMEs are themselves aware of how can they help the MSMEs? Can I put it this way? Okay. So banker is just one example, and I'm sure there could be other examples.
But if you can ask questions that are specific to your requirement, it will be more relevant. So much so, we will respond to only those questions. Otherwise, we will talk general, you will talk general. How do you motivate me? That type of question I would like to have. मेरा बिजनेस ये है, मेरा फैक्ट्री यहाँ पर है, मेरे यही दिक्कतें हैं, हाउ डू यू सॉल्व दिस? दैट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन इज एक्सपेक्टेड. ओके, प्लीज प्लीज.
So I'm Sandeep. I'm into capital consulting and coaching for MSMEs. By and large, we deal 1 or 2 clients in a month, and it's mostly related to their credit side. By the time they come to us, they'll have one project report which says bankable project report, but their business is not bankable. So then when we try to make them that it's a longer turnaround time, is at least a quarter, half year, and all. So in this context, how you can help me? How digitization or anybody how can you reach out to? I was asking Malvik also that you have to productize your service content, and so that then you can. So similar, anything of that sort that can help us.
The question is difficult. You want to paraphrase it? Okay. So the question is actually very difficult, given that the problem itself is very difficult. Am I right? This question you can ask to all the panels. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. While we are compelled to focus only on the topic, you can talk anything other than the topic. Superb. Yeah, we'll come to it. We'll come to it.
So, I have exactly the question that Sudhakar Rao sir was telling. So, I have a factory in Adivatla. I make defense and aerospace. We make systems and subsystems for fighter aircraft and missiles for DRDOs. Customized. Now, it will not be out of way to say that I am not making enough money. I would like to export, but I don't have a product. I am making customized systems for them. So how can you help me?
A very good session will have few unanswered questions. Yes.
Yeah, my name is Ram Mohan. I am an entrepreneur. So my question here is, how we can create a level playing field for digital transformation on par with bigger companies for MSMEs. So what I mean to say is that so today all the large companies can afford to have all the digital transformation tools, but when it comes to the MSME, one is affordability, another is their knowledge to acquire those tools. What kind of tools that they need?
It's largely a function of affordability. Yeah. Any other, sir?
We make customized products. I want to know from Vamsi and Srinivas, because I've been struggling to implement ERP in my company for the last 3 years. So I want to know how I can. It's a direct question.
Any more? Yes, sir.
For MSMEs, I take the liberty on this point. What is, from your view, that MSME has to be successful for year-round actually order processing and profits? What are the best solutions you imagine and think of?
Good. Thank you, sir. Any more questions? Yeah, we will try and respond to some of these questions, and if you have not responded, you can understand that we don't have any answer. Okay? Yeah, please. Street vendors. Oh, good. I'll give 1 or 2 examples. That will come last. Okay. We will do like this. All the questions have been noted by all of us. Satya will respond to at least 2-3 questions. Is it okay? Yeah. And then we can keep on adding. But very quickly we'll try and finish. Yeah. You have 13 minutes.
Yeah. So I'll take the liberty of answering in any order. I hope that's okay with you. But we will again check back, where we have answered and not answered. We'll check that. So I think I'll start off with the question that somebody talked about, creating an awareness, to do things, as well as the affordability part. So I'm going to take that together. See, one of the major challenges today for an MSME is that, is digital transformation required for me? If the answer is yes, then what is that I need to digitalize or digitally transform? And how much it will cost me, and how should where should I go? Who are the people who can help me? These are the broad things that typically anybody who starts a digital journey will have, right? So, and there is already a lot of confusing words like digitization, digital transformation, and so on. And each one is valid from its own perspective, but they are also very different from one to another, right? So, one of the things that somebody has to, what we see, when I represent a center within CII called CII's, Center for Digital Transformation. It is done with Tata Communications, so it's called CII Tata Communications Center for Digital Transformation. So we work with MSMEs just to help them on some of these things. And the awareness creation is the first thing that has to be really focused on. Like, what is that you need? And to do that, typically, you can use any method. I'm just suggesting a method. So, you look at, you apply a model called, digital maturity rating or something, so you try to talk to the company, understand the as-is processes that they have, what are the pain points that they have, and what are the opportunities that typically that exist. So that you can easily get from by asking the right set of questions and getting the answers. And using this method, for example, in our center, so we do this and then we go and tell you, okay, these are the opportunities that, you are at this level, you seem to have strengths in, say, customer-facing processes, you seem to have doing well, whereas employee-facing processes, there are a lot of issues in that, or operational processes, you have not even touched it. So like this, it can give you some kind of a mirror to you, saying that these are the things that you need to do. So that's that. Creating the awareness, creating a baseline of where you are today, and then you look at the affordability part. Like, now you need to know, you don't have the, the reach of say large company, so that you can go for end-to-end transformation in one go. So you then start prioritizing what is more important for you. So for example, many people will say that I don't want to touch anything on the customer side because that is too risky for me, whereas I can go and automate a few things on my shop floor because that's going to give me some immediate benefits, right? So that's something that, there are many methods by which you can do that, to see what is that you require on the, prioritization, and show some immediate successes. Because your management, whether it is a owner-led one or is it a corporate-led one, in both cases, you need to be convincing somebody saying that it is worth investing money on this. But for that, it's like a chicken and egg situation. So, you need to show some, quick results, the low-hanging ones, right? And that's where I'm suggesting that, you go for some digital intervention on the shop floor side. It's going to improve your efficiency, it's going to improve your productivity and so on, which will then open up your purse for other these things. I'll come back to some of these things once again, but if somebody wants to add.
Yeah, I can add. So, many points were raised on how do we push MSMEs to contribute more? How do I become a bankable business so banks will give me a loan or capital? Why only certain percentage of companies are profitable while rest of them are not? So it all comes down to the business model, whether is it profitable, whether it is scalable, whether it is sustainable. Anyway, I'm deviating slightly away from the topic because the forum is more on adoption challenges of digital technologies. But so first, why that skewness in some success, some not successes? Probably there's a problem in the business model itself. Now, There's a specific challenge someone raised about defense and aerospace who make customized solutions, but you're not able to become profitable or you're not making. So I think now you need to introspect and analyze. So where is it you're lagging? Is it because the product or service which you're selling is too commoditized in the market where you are not able to command a premium? Or is it something to do with not enough of sales pipeline? Is it something to do with high cost of the product and it is taking too much time for you to manufacture it? So the cycle time is too high and you're not able to create enough products to cater to a larger market. So just for the sake of discussion, I'll take the sales. So here I would like to blend it to how this is a challenge in our digital scenario. So as a customized solution, it's not like everyone out there is going to buy customized defense and aerospace solutions, right? You need to focus and find that right target customer who actually wants to buy it. It's not some off-the-shelf product which everyone is going to come and buy it. So now this is where digital technologies like digital marketing and AI, to some extent, you can leverage to identify those target customers to reach out to them. So this is something similar to a challenge which I can relate to. So I am from Moltech Technologies, so we do a lot of custom solutions for OEM suppliers for manufacturing body components. Now, body components, engineering, design solutions is my service. So it's not like they're everywhere. I need to identify where they are. They're across the globe, and I need to leverage technology to try and reach them. I need to try and appeal to their need and try to project that USP, the unique selling proposition. Why should he give me work over some other guy? So this is one challenge where how do you reach a global audience, using these digital technologies. There are so many challenges out there. So there's so many platforms to choose from. It could be Instagram, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be Google, they say SEO. So how do you choose the right platform or the forum through which you try to reach your audience or target customer? So that's one challenge. So this is something which probably you can start experimenting with some free tools to start with. Try to understand and research the market where your possible target customers are. So there are a lot of AI tools which are available which do the research for you. This is very brand new. You don't have to search in Google for it. There are some tools where you go there. A free one itself gives an entire market potential of the market, the specific market which you want. It gives the market potential and it basically scrapes the entire internet and gets that data for you in a research manner. So maybe this could be a starting point for you to understand whether your business has the right potential. Then probably you can start using other AI tools to expand and research and reach out to your target customers. This I'm talking assuming a sales and a marketing challenge.
Assuming it's a sales and marketing problem.
And adoption challenge from a digital perspective.
The little bit of digital in this answer is about adopting cutting edge technologies to sharpen your communication and reach and effectiveness. Otherwise, we will be going back to the previous panel in how you can market, how you can use social media, how you can expand your reach and so on and so forth. However, I appreciate that problem. But sir, do you have LinkedIn presence? Okay. By what name, sir? In your name. Organizational do you have, sir? Can we immediately open that, sir? I'll come back to this thing. I can give you many more suggestions also, and I'll specifically talk to you off the stage as well. But in the meantime, we'll request Srinivas sir to help us understand the hurdles in the journey of adopting, implementing, improvising ERP for smaller organizations. Over to you, sir.
Good evening. I'm Srinivas, Managing Director of Equic Dice and Molds. This is about a 35 years old company, and we have started implementing ERP way back in 2002. So we had, so basically like what sir said, we were also making the tailor-made products at that point of time, and it's very difficult to sustain. I can imagine your problem as my problem when I was in 2002. We had no other baskets of money invested in any of the branches where we have been investing towards in tool room only, where tailor-made products only can be made. So we are specialized, good name and fame everywhere in making manufacturing dies, but ultimately the bottom line counts. So in that transformation, but every die is a challenge, everything is a different one. So if you have to make a car engine die, it is different. If it is motorcycle, it is different. So we have to account properly how we are going and what is making us to put in this situation where we are not able to progress, neither we are able to. We have to make progress means we have to make the bottom line. So if the bottom line is not there, definitely there is no meaning in staying in that business, and we all get disappointed. That point of time, we had the same situation. We thought how we can transform. Luckily, we had a friend who was working in the similar platform. That point of time on Oracle-based ERP solutions, we called him, interacted, because luckily the whole team of our management is technocrats. That's one problem. We expect micro things to improve, but we all started because then I can imagine Suprasad Reddy Garu, he is more senior in the industry than me, and he says since last 3-4 years he's struggling. So my answer probably can meet him. This is a journey which the owner, along with the core team, has to take with the full interest. Right from giving a code for material, whatever you buy, and giving a code to your employee, identification to your machine, process, every setup. So that is a big challenging job which MSMEs, we saw with, actually I had a presentation which I would have explained in the sequence, but now we are all running out of time, and I'll just try to make it. Yeah, yes. So, we have got 4 M's. We have got a manpower, machines, process, and the material. The 4 M's have to be addressed apart from the system. In the system point of view, whatever you have, you can integrate it by giving. Everywhere you have a challenge, and it has to be with the patients. Everyone has to work from operator level to the HR person to the security guard to everywhere, the source person. So if whole journey starts with what is the count you have manpower, you will have to give a code and how he works. What is the set of rules that you have to decide for a human that is coming inside the plant, and how effectively you are using in every area. Security guard, he does his duty, and the stores fellow, he does his different duty, and what is the output? He has to put it in record. So we will have to create a job card for the work whatever he is doing. If the design engineer works on his 8 hours in a different, we will be at any point of time, we will be running with 50 or 100 projects. So on which project he is working for half an hour, 15 minutes, sometimes he has to attend for a HR training. So all that thing in the human area you have to make it. And the same way on the materials front, which is again, right from, it's again a challenge. Getting material for dye is totally different from if you are producing a plastic bond, you get 10 tons of plastic material, whatever is the grade or aluminum, you get it, you process it. But that area also has got a different challenge. But in this scenario, we have to get the material, then process in stage wise. That means method out of 4 M's, method has to be fully made it. So you have stages of operations everywhere. You need to derive each operation, the sequence. If you are getting a die, how material lock up, what will be the operation code, like that you will have to make it. So man, material, then the method, whatever is the process that you come across to produce a die, that area also you will have to make coding. Then this process has to be explained with a flow chart to the person who is doing. Now, this is about 20 years back, it was very tough. Recently, for around 8 years back, we have adopted, we have been doing this for our tool room based on Oracle, and we could integrate it, but ultimately we have to hire the in-house team. We have got around 3 people working on ERP for our Equic group. We had other companies where we are making aluminum die casting components. Then we were more matured and we could engage TCS. They have an excellent ERP platform, Edition CII, which is again, we thought it is cake to eat, but it is not so. There also we had the challenges. So the similar challenges, it's again, everything we have to customize it to our requirement, because we get 10 tons of material and it goes into 50 varieties of parts. How can we digitize it? I mean, how can you evaluate it? These are all the challenges, right from material to dispatch we had, and we have to do it patiently, and it costs money. And it is an unknown area we are entering. How much is the money budget? Again, as an MSME, we cannot budgetize this. We don't even budget for 1 year. How can we budget unknown area which will not cost? But you have to take little amount of pain. The other question what sir was asking, I'll try to, what I could observe, how India can grow and become a 5 trillion economy. There's a lot of programs announced by the MSME ministry in adopting these technologies. Even if you are implementing ERP or any digital this thing, you have to upgrade your systems. You have the schemes. So if you are able to make use of it and make use of the, see, we had last session, which is again supported by government of Telangana, which is again a news for me, that they are also trying to help. I also learned something on the digital marketing side. They are also trying to support. This is ONDC is a nationwide program, so which they would like to implement it here. So ultimately, the sky is the limit. How we can implement, like no product to the product. Then you have the information. You have got a right to. You will be able to take a right decision. If there is no information, then we all will be in dark. So reduce the cycle time, all that thing. And if person is absent, you don't have the proper system. If his output is less, you have a person who is an elephant for you, and you cannot measure the output. He comes and goes. That is also you can evaluate in the digital. So it's a miracle that you can achieve, but it is overall, I can see the entire process overall involved in each and every section. They have to put their heart and soul and try to digitize it as possible. Then there will be a lot of resistance from each and every department, which is probably Reddy sir must be facing. So, अरे ये करेगा तो क्या होगा? What will happen? Everything will come into the surface. Probably, if a person is doing mistakes, his mistakes per year are counting to sales. So when the year end comes, if you show he comes for evaluation, then you say you have done so many mistakes. So that tendency, the opposition from the people will be there. But if you don't count it, then you are carrying only elephants, not the horses, where it will take forward. So this is the way how I think slightly I can put it.
Yes.
It is challenging, but it is not that difficult. So we went through the journey. Thank you.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. We'll come to your point, sir. What sir is talking about is the frameworks. To have the frameworks, MSMEs will have to think big. And the framework is also a function of having good practices. It is not a chicken and egg story. You have to start thinking big and then have good practices, share the vision. It is more people driven in smaller organizations. In bigger organizations, it's more system driven. I think the test of leadership is much more, or in relatable terms, is much more when we are still small and medium. And I think on an everyday basis, we need to create a shared vision organization rather than thinking less or thinking small and having disjointed connections within the organizations. I have some examples, I'll give it to you also. But I think Vamsi wanted to add a point or two. He has been championing the digital transformation in Moltech and several case studies that he has got. Maybe one or two examples you can add to ERP's journey.
So I will just add on to what Mr. Srinivas has been explaining about ERP. So there are other digital initiatives which I am doing, but since we are talking about ERP, I will highlight more. So let's assume, so someone asked a question about affordability and knowledge of the tools. I think right? So let us assume you have the affordability to buy the ERP tool. For now, we'll talk about affordability. Identify the right ERP tool itself, we get confused. So let us even assume that you know what ERP to implement. So now as a business, so I think here most of the audience are just about to start their business, or they have started and they want to take off. So you also need to look at the future, where now once you come out of the survival mode, you become sustainable and you now aspire to become a successful and a stable business. That is when, like Mr. Sudhakar has mentioned, you need systems. So when your company is small, you as an individual will be running around all the departments and you are managing everything. But as your organization grows, that's when the systems and processes become very important. Now, ERP is one such tool, a digital tool, which helps you manage your whole company by managing the information in your operations. So what happens is now, you got the tool installed, but how do you get the buy-in? Now, many of your team members, like Mr. Srinivas mentioned, they don't like the tool. They may be feeling insecure that, my boss is setting up this tool so he can get rid of me. Those kind of things happen. So, apart from the tool, now these are those advanced challenges which are not digital. These are more people and the thinking and the perception. So here, you as a leader have to have that broader outlook, and you need to have that holistic view of how do I manage these stakeholders. And for you, the clock is ticking. The sooner your ERP gets implemented, that is when you actually start realizing the value of that tool. Till then, it is a white elephant and it's just bleeding. You have to run your existing system, you have to run the new system. Everyone is all getting frustrated, blaming the system. The old system, some are blaming the old one, some are blaming the new one. So, having a very holistic plan, having a step-by-step approach, try to think of it as an investment. When you look at a tool and you're considering it, try to think of it as an investment. The minute you think of it as a cost, you try to reduce it, you go for the lowest, cheapest tool, or you try to see if you can cut somewhere by not hiring some expert to support you. So these all are those additional factors you need to keep in mind. These are slightly more advanced at a later stage, probably once you're established. So just wanted to add that.
Yeah. One observation is that there is something called low equilibrium trap. Low equilibrium trap is you have low energy on anything that you do. For example, this organization's sales are not good, or this organization has achieved just 5% of the sales of the target. The sense of celebration and the value that you attach to that internally and get everyone connected to that will make people aspiring to achieve a little more. Sometimes we don't do that. So that, as you have explained, that spiral down, everything lower, everything lesser, because you treat it as a cost and your vision is not overarching enough to actually inspire the rest of the people, is going to lead to a low equilibrium trap. And it becomes extremely difficult for us to lift it up from where it has fallen. It can happen in any organization, but more importantly for the segment that we are talking, I think it is leader driven, it is at the top, and the buck stops there, and therefore it has to be driven more. Dime a dozen, there are technologies, there is rationality available for you to select which one. As per your priority, you can do that. But I think that leader driven energy will only avoid us to get into what is called a low equilibrium trap.
Just wanted to add a word of caution for anyone who wants to embark on the digital transformation path or even digitization path. You will find typically three types of, when you're looking for a consultant to implement this, you will typically get three types of one. One is somebody who's representing an OEM who will come and probably talk about, what are the benefits that somebody will get, by implementing their ERP, their systems, their solutions and so on. But they're going to talk about, their own product actually. So that's one type of this thing. So the second one will be like a system integrator or a technology solution provider. So, he will try to bring in different technologies, but then there is always some kind of an ulterior motive, in terms of trying to push one over the other. You need to be watch out. We need to watch out for that. The third is somebody, people who have spent time in an industry, okay, so they know in and out of that industry, so they have a great, subject matter knowledge, but, post-retirement or about to get retirement, so they also get into, nowadays it has become more of a fact to get in, they get into this line of digital, I'm a digital consultant for this area. Now, there's no doubt that they have a, great talent, in their area. They may be a, supply chain expert, they may be a operational, on the plant, shop floor expert, but they may not be digital experts. Okay, so just what I'm trying to caution you is that whichever method, any method you can go, okay, each one will come with the pros and cons, but do not let anyone sell you a Mercedes-Benz when what you want is just a Maruti 800. Okay, and that's what typically happens with most of the implementations. Somebody comes and does a great job of selling you a Benz when you don't really require it. Okay, so just be aware of that. That's one thing. The second point that, to answer the private banker there. So, so there are typically for any, I'm going to answer in a slightly generic way. So, but for any country at any level, there are 3-4 bodies which are important for this digital transformation. So one is of course the government itself. So what kind of enablement that they need to do. For example, India has been doing a lot, at least in the last, few years. I was so lucky to be present when Mr. Nandan Nilekani from Infosys presented before, B20. So he talked about the digital journey of what they are doing for everybody, including MSME, the other infrastructure that is today underlying can be utilized for a lot of other things. So he talked about. So they have a role. And, for example, Singapore has a model called Go First Digital kind of a model where they help you on planning, execution and awareness creation. So they talk about, so India also should be doing more or already doing more. So that's one thing. The second is there is a role of academic institutions, whether they offer courses specifically, tailored for MSMEs, what is digital for MSMEs and so on. For example, we recently did one program with IIM Udaipur just to, what is digital transformation for small and medium-sized companies. We talked about it. So that's one thing. The third is the role of, industry associations, whether it is CII or FICCI or anyone, so what is the role? How do they bridge the gap between the industry and the government and the other stakeholders? And last is create a pool of SME digital consultants who will be able to do that. Again, there are at the skill development, there is a Government of India initiative called Skill Development. So they're trying to address this part. So hopefully, if all these things, all these places work well, the problem that you face should not happen, but that's how it is.
I'll give a slight twist to that answer. Information and response to an existing policy is more than an awareness issue, it's a T&D issue. You're a trainer, right? So it's in your domain, in the sense that, I know. For example, certain functional areas determine the behavior of the people working in those areas. For example, take Diwakar. He is a salesperson. Okay, even if he is dying, he will sell something and die. I'm just taking the liberty of taking your name. So in certain functional areas, you have behaviors that are very, very different. In my organization, I don't want to say about anybody else. I know it is true to everyone. The accountants behave in such a manner that everyone else is a thief. किसी से बात नहीं करते, अगर बात करते हैं तो ऐसा डाउट करके बात करते हैं, as if the organization is resting only on their shoulders. There are lots of such issues. So functional areas determine your behaviors, and it's a T&D issue. And even if Prime Minister announces with so much of fanfare that they have announced this, that, the bank says, हमको तो पता ही नहीं है, ये तो कोई सवाल ही नहीं है, there is no such scheme. ऐसा बोलते हैं. They do like that. Okay. The other thing that I want to mention is to respond to our friend. The Government of India, I don't know whether Prime Minister announced, but I read this yesterday in Economic Times. There is a new scheme called OCEN, Open Credit Enabling Network. Okay. Now, this gives you credit funding which moves away from your collateral-based credit to cash flow based crediting. I think this, if it is realized, and if you go and talk to those banks or bankers or middlemen, if they understand what this is and they explain to you, I'm sure you will be benefited, and there is some solution lying in this initiative. It is laudable, definitely. This is a good initiative. Am I somewhere closer to an answer that you are seeking? Great. And what did we not answer is the question next. I will answer that. I will answer that. No. You want to? No, our Satya doesn't have any question. Under this pretext, I can close it. But I will answer that question. See, it's a journey. What Diwakar has asked is about what have we done in the last 60 years and what are we doing. It's a very politically sharp question. I will not fall into that trap. But largely this country has been progressing, and some of them take a lot of time to fructify and some of them will take a shorter time to fructify. Industry bodies like CII is doing a fantastic job. If they have an inventory of consultants who can be specialized into say less than 20 crore manufacturing setup base where ERP has to be implemented, or some kind of consultants, segmented consultants, if they have an inventory, that will be extremely useful. Academics like us should not just IIM Udaipur, I think smaller institutions which are not the I schools. I come from one, but they haven't done much other than collecting large fees. Sorry, we come from one. So what the institutions will have to do is to get down to the streets and start working with the people and generate solutions there. I think design thinking solutions will have to come if you are a matured institution. That is your give back to the country. If it is not a design thinking kind of a solution, it is waste. Those solutions only will work for this country. This country has got 1,000 countries within. If anybody says one nation, one plan, that is a strategic mistake. We need to unify the country, that's a different story altogether, politically. But solutions will have to be multiple. Understand the reality which is plural, and then give so many solutions to so many segments. Get down there. Otherwise, in the ivory towers, if we strategize and try and attempt some generic solutions, it will not work. We have to go. What we have done is on the streets. For street vendors, somebody has asked the question. The street vendors, we have done, I was explaining to my colleagues, I'll just take half a minute. We have taken one example of the Sunday Mela in Sanat Nagar. Every Sunday they have a street vendor sitting there. It's a designated place. So some of the students have come up with this solution after interaction and all those things, that they have similar kind of products, and there are 4 people. They come from one kind of an organization. They are brothers or related people. So his name is Vamsi, Sudhakar, Satya and Srinivas. We are all cousins. We go to Sanat Nagar. He sells balloons. I sell balloon inflated toys. He sells inflated balls, and he sells bags to carry all these things. Okay, assume this is just an example, but the solution is real. He holds a card which says, John, I hold a card, name card, which is very big and visible. Johnny, he holds a name card saying Janardhan, John, Johnny, Janardhan, something like that. They came up with this solution. And these people don't sit in the stall that they have. These people keep moving. Stall is there, keep moving, and they have a small audio bite that they have, which they keep on playing, and they attract people to come back. And if anybody observes them, you can complete the picture saying that these four people come from the same house or come from the same family. So the other one is to use reels or update your WhatsApp status. You have your customers, take their numbers. If you have new products coming, they ask for a certain color of the product now. A pink inflated balloon that they want, a small toy balloon. You can immediately tell them, even if you are not on Sunday, even on Saturday or Friday, you can tell them. You can ask them to come and collect. So small incremental, this is for the micro street vendors I'm talking. Today they are earning 2,000 rupees. Tomorrow, by using these small technologies or adoption of these practices, they may take home 2,500. That makes a very, very big difference. It may not mean anything to us, but to them, 2,000 to 2,500 is a big jump. All by using the small freely available techniques and tools. Yeah. WhatsApp, for example. Small videos, status updates, and things like that. Okay? Looks like we are done. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.
So this session is a very important one, transforming MSMEs through digital marketing and e-commerce for enhanced efficiency. So MSME is a very important sector, as we all know, which makes major contributions to the country's GDP as well as employment. In Telangana itself, we have almost 26 lakh MSMEs according to Ministry of MSME annual report. And more than 25 lakhs are actually micro units. So it is actually important to understand what are the factors which slow down the growth of MSMEs. And there was a study by Boston Consulting Group in 2016, which we referred, and there were some conclusions that they came out with. One was that they listed a set of factors which slow MSME growth. A couple of them were like lack of financing, policy, and other factors. But the topmost factor which was identified was lack of technology. And they summarized that the tech leaders, they actually have an annual growth rate, revenue growth rate of about 28%, whereas tech laggards have only about growth rate of 13%, which is a major gap. And they also put forth some case studies which showed how technology helped MSMEs in making a big growth transition. So we all know how the pandemic made MSMEs realize the value of having an online presence. And in fact, now when we conduct online awareness sessions about becoming digitized or whatever, the question is not why we should do it anymore. The question, the dialogue starts on, how we could actually become digitized, or how we could come onto more and more platforms and be visible online. So even before COVID started, our department was actually, we started working on this initiative called Digitizing MSMEs, in which we selected a set of IT companies from across the state. Companies like Now Floats, O2O Now, Zoho, Microsoft, and others. And then we approached a lot of these local industry associations. And what we started doing was conducting awareness sessions in their industrial parks in and around, and helping MSMEs to understand how important technology is, and you cannot be left behind. So there were some positive reactions, and then we started expanding this to our district levels, conducted pakwadas in 2017-18, But there was some hesitancy, we realized, MSMEs, not many of them were coming on board. And we realized that cost was a very major factor for them in becoming digitized, and some of these solutions were maybe too expensive for them. So then we started looking for more solutions which would help MSMEs to, have a one-stop solution for them where they could get all their major digital needs fulfilled. So then we, came across this platform, Global Linker. Malvika, my colleague, is here from Global Linker. And then we created this Telangana State Global Linker portal, which is actually a one-stop solution for MSMEs. They create websites, e-commerce stores, they conduct awareness sessions for MSMEs, and a bunch of services which Malvika will talk about. And this was actually like a turning point for us. And today, actually, I'm happy to share that we have 14,000 plus MSMEs registered onto this platform, and many of them actually really benefited during the COVID period. We had some other associations as well with SAP India in December 2020. And through their SAP Ariba Discovery platform, MSMEs were able to again connect with global customer markets. And then we also tied up with Meesho, and they already have a big customer base across India of 11 crores people. And the benefit that they offered was that MSMEs can actually transact or be part of Meesho platform without having to pay any commission. So that is why we are actively again promoting this portal across the state. Then Just Dial was again another collaboration we had in March 22, in which again it's a listing platform, helps MSMEs become onboarded onto it, and they become discoverable across the country. So now we have today 17,600 MSMEs from Telangana who are already registered onto this platform. So with this brief overview, I would now like to invite my colleague, Mr. Nitin Nair, who is the Senior Vice President for ONDC. You've already probably heard him in the morning. But Nitin has been working with the government of Telangana closely to popularize ONDC network across the state. And he's been actively participating, visiting us many times, to conduct various physical and virtual workshops, organized in collaboration with the government and Global Linker. So over to you, Nitin, now.
Thanks, Asma. I think I briefly spoke about what is ONDC and how and what we're trying to do, right? So I'm not going to go to the deck, but just trying to condense it all together. It's typically a 1 hour presentation that I condense in about 15 minutes, right? So essentially, as an MSME, what you need to think about it, this is another market access mode, right? You want to build a website, you would probably go to a website enabling platform like Shopify, or you will go to one of the existing platforms. 3 broad ways all of you come online. Right? So this is probably a 4th way to come online, where you will connect by using technology to the ONDC network and start getting orders. That's the way most companies which have reasonably decent sized tech teams will do. Or you will contract out with one of the seller apps on ONDC who will onboard you by bringing in your catalog, doing the necessary configurations, and then having you online. For example, Global Linker could be the network participant who could help onboard you onto the ONDC network. Right? Once you come on board, a buyer searching on any buyer app for whatever products and services that you wish to sell will have visibility on your product services catalog, and then an order flow will happen. So think of it as a market access channel which enables you to be discoverable by the entire universe of buyers, which continues to grow on the ONDC network. Today we have about 100 million potential customers doing about 1.5 lakh orders a day. As the buyer app ecosystem expands, there will be more and more buyer apps coming in. So that's one way to look at it. The other 2-3 ways that as an MSME you should look at it. The second is we are also doing B2B, right? Which means a lot of the presentation I spoke in the morning largely concentrated on the B2C part of the business, right? That you look at B2C buyers who come in and bespoke buyers buying individual items in small quantities. Versus we've also enabled B2B where you as a MSME can both be visible to customers who will acquire your products in large quantities, and therefore the buying experience is very different there. And you could also become a potential buyer, for example, your raw material inventory. Right? If you have raw material inventory that you use, or if you have stockists, other distribution channels you use, you can also become a buyer trying to source from the ONDC network. Right? Like as the network becomes bigger, you're not just a seller, you're also a potential buyer. Things that you buy across India, say you're a food processing unit, right? You want to buy raw fruits, right? How do you kind of look at FPOs across India, right? As an input to your business. Right? Will you continue to focus on building the food processing unit and the product that you build, but some of your sourcing can come on the network. This is the second use case. In this, we're also, we've just started exports. The first golden transaction happened earlier this month, where we've now started to power exports. So we've onboarded our first international buyer app. It's a Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is the RBI equivalent in Singapore, invested company called Proxera. Proxera is going to bring, for example, demand from Southeast Asia. Like if you are a company that has products that are of interest to buyers in Southeast Asia, right? Proxera is enabling those buyers to find you as a seller, right? So some of the other more nuanced use cases. I would conclude by saying that, over and above what I said earlier, essentially think of what UPI did to payments, ONDC is endeavoring to do to commerce. One big difference, of course, is UPI's payments via, transaction, which means there has to be a goods or a services involved. Everything eventually will be on the ONDC network. It's just the order and the sequence that may vary, right? You may see about 10, 15 domains that are live, right? Sorry. So there are about 10 domains live. B2B has 2 domains. We have got financial services, which means things like credit, which is loans, things like insurance, etc. All will also be available on the network. And while there are comparison engines which are very B2C centric, there will also be things that will be slightly more B2B focused, and therefore provide you the opportunity to be again buy stuff that you don't buy online today, right? So broadly B2C, B2B, exports, and the ability for you to become a buyer also, right? That's the broad set of things that at least today we envision as things that MSMEs could benefit from. Of course, depending on your domain, is the domain live today, when is it coming, all of this may vary slightly, but I would urge you, if you're already in a domain that's live, to come on board. Ideally, use one of our seller network participants, because that makes you go online quickly. Unless there are any specific challenges, you could be online in a couple of days, right? It's just about building a catalog and then just going live, right? And like I said, and if you're in a domain that's not live, please just keep track of our website. You will hear a lot of public announcements as we do our first transaction. Most domains, you will hear communication from ONDC. And as your domain comes live, please join us. So we look forward to having as many entities from CII Telangana, the MSME entities, joining ONDC network and getting the best out of it, both as a buyer and as a seller. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Nitin. Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Ms. Malvika Jaggi, who is Director Global Linker. She has been working with our Industries and Commerce Department for the last 4 years on initiatives such as Telangana State Global Linker, Kirana Linker, and Made in Telangana Mall. Her enthusiasm and painstaking efforts have helped us in extending digital services to MSMEs across Telangana. Thank you, Vatsala, for the warm welcome. And a very good afternoon to all of you. I'm sure you've had a sumptuous lunch, but I think this topic is for business owners like yourself. So, like Vatsala mentioned, this is about Telangana State Global Linker.
which is a digital initiative by the government of Telangana Industries Department. And what does this really do for you? What does it mean for you? Is the fact that think of it like the social media or the new social media for businesses. So there are people interacting about how do I get new raw material, where do I find suppliers, they're engaging with others to appoint agents, to appoint distributors, or even actually just talking about new product launches, new awards that they've won, applying for the government awards as well. So there are over 4 lakh plus MSMEs across the world on the platform, and like Vatsala mentioned, there are 14,000 from Telangana already. But the benefit that you get is that you're not restricted to network with only the Telangana MSMEs. You can build connections and business opportunities across the world, and we're not limited only to India. We have a lot of partners across Bangladesh, a lot of ASEAN countries. Now, what is it that you as a business owner can really look for from this platform? One, the reason it was made by the government of Telangana is so that there is two-way communication between the government as well as with the MSME. So there are a lot of government schemes, policies, updates that you can see. We have a partner called FIO, which is Federation of Indian Export Organizations, where you can see trade alerts as well. If you're interested in exports, you could join their marketplace, which is called Indian Business Portal, which helps you connect all the Indian sellers with foreign buyers. So there are already a lot of matchmaking opportunities that happen on the platform. Having said that, I think one of our core capability and tool that is made for businesses is the online store builder. Now, what does this do? Now, we all have been in traditional businesses, and we all now understand the importance of digitizing. But how do you digitize your business? You can't just one fine day go and say, okay, I'll be on Google listed and I've digitized my business. As a buyer or as a consumer, how am I able to discover your business? So either you have a website, or that website is also made into an integrated e-commerce store. It's not just information based, but I'm able to transact on that website. So both these capabilities exist on the platform, where you can actually say that this is my catalog, whether B2B, B2C, services, industrial goods, no matter which category type you are in. You can just say that this is what I deal in, and create your entire catalog on the platform, absolutely free of cost, powered by the government, with integrated logistics and payment gateway providers. Now, what does this mean for you? So let's say you get an order, you've created your entire store or your e-commerce website or your digital catalog. There are many terms, but you've got your first order. You don't have to worry about how do you do the logistics. We have pre-partnered with local, domestic and international partners, right from Dunzo, VFast, Vamaship, Shipmax, Shiplight, as well as international Aramex. And in the payment gateway space, you don't have to worry that, okay, now how will I get my money to my bank, right? So there's already Razorpay, there's CC Avenue, there's EasyPay by ICICI Bank, and there's PayPal, there's Paytm. So you don't have to worry about how will the money reach and how will your product or your service reach the customer. All you need to do is start promoting yourself with just a URL, right? You need to start doing, once you've created your catalog, you need to start sending it across, either in terms of just sharing it with your friends and family, doing social media activities, doing SEO, doing digital marketing, and then start using the power of digital to actually get confirmed orders. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard of the buzz around ONDC, and my friend Nitin has already explained it, but let me just tell you in a layman term what this will help you in your business. Like we've used UPI, like I might want to send money to my friend here and I'm able to do it just via using UPI on any, let's say PhonePe, Paytm, Google Pay. Similarly, ONDC is doing that for e-commerce. Now, what does that mean? I am a seller on Global Linker, which means I've created my digital catalog, and you are a buyer on Paytm, Flipkart, whichever buyer app is there on ONDC. The transaction is smooth and the buyer doesn't know that he is transacting from a seller on Global Linker. Now, how does that help you? You don't have to go and onboard yourself on various seller apps. You just have one dashboard. You've created your website and you've onboarded yourself onto ONDC, who has done the work of getting you buyer apps, right? And that of course gets you a lot of confirmed orders as well. So this is what I wanted to share with you about the platform. I think what you need to do next is just the fact of going on to Google, looking up Telangana State Global Linker. Given that there are so many different services and offers and range of capabilities that exist today, it will be overwhelming for you to hear all of it. But I think right from partnering with, for legal services, we have Vakil Search. For accounting, we have Tally. So it's basically a 360 approach in having you as a business not feel lonely. We know it can be very lonely as a business. You don't know where to start. There are many services existing and you don't know how to deal with them in terms of getting a pre-negotiated offer. So we've done all that for you so that you can just go back and concentrate on things that you really need to. For example, let's say you're in the B2B space and you're a manufacturer, you have 100 distributors, these distributors have about 1,000 retailers each. Even this entire supply chain is digitized on the platform today, which means that you as a manufacturer can actually set customized minimum order quantities, customized credit limit, or even discounts. Okay, so that's the power of being on the digital space. I think it's a matter of everybody now trying it out. So I urge you to start doing that. Again, if you'd like to be on ONDC as well, you could do it via Telangana State Global Linker, which is powered by the government. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Malvika. That was a wonderful presentation. Now I would like to invite Mr. N. Sudhir Babu, who is CEO Beanfield Tech Private Limited. Mr. Sudhir comes from a technology background. His company is working closely with MSMEs to help them get off ground once their product is market ready. And he's also currently working with startups from our government-supported incubators like T-Hub and V-Hub.
Hello, everybody. So before I get started, I'll just tell you a little bit about my own journey because almost 23 years back, I was a student in the US and I decided I'm going to open my first e-commerce site as well. So this was in the early days of e-commerce. Very excitedly, I ordered some jackets from India, set up my e-commerce website because I'm from a technical background. So early days, Amazon was just getting some traction at that time. The very first, among the first 5 orders I got, I was very, very excited. I noticed there was an order where I was asked to ship to Indonesia. The card was from Hong Kong, and it appeared that somebody from the US had placed the order. Collected the money, sent the order. Then I'm very happy that things were going on, business was growing, until I got my first chargeback. That's when I realized e-commerce, now things have changed quite a bit, but there's a lot of challenges for MSMEs. You may understand your product, but there is a complete breadth of things you need to consider. Fraud, how do you grow? You understand your product, but how do you do digital marketing? What actually works? Do you want to take your product outside of India? What are the challenges involved? Within India, the logistics. Outside India, what are the custom rules? All these kind of things are there. I learned quite a bit with my first e-commerce experience. Graduated, I started running data centers. So we were managing thousands and thousands of websites. We were a fairly large data center in the US. This is where again I got additional experience. We were a lot of our clients were e-commerce. They were trying to get set up, trying to manage everything. What I noticed is clients, at least the clients that I was getting, they understand the product, but everything else is foreign to them. Technology is new. They don't understand, okay, I've got this product, how do I get people to know it? Okay. When I was coming to India, one thing that struck me was China had Alibaba. We didn't have anything similar. India Mart was kind of like the closest. Okay. When ONDC was announced, was very exciting, because what I noticed is, as I keep traveling back and forth, India actually is now more on the forefront. It used to be that we were trying to catch up. Every time I came to India, we used to have those modems, the beep, 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 and trying to connect. Now our speeds are good. We have UPI. GPay. I'm noticing that our systems are getting more sophisticated than the ones I'm seeing in US, Canada. That we are definitely on par, but we are doing things that are very, very unique, which when I think the currency, when all the notes were cancelled and everything, people were wondering what the hell is going on. But now, it's very rare that I actually need cash. All these things together, I got together with a few of my friends, colleagues. We were looking at what the challenges are. What are the challenges? What can we see? Any business to be successful, we need to identify a problem and we need to solve the problem. And there must be enough demand for you to solve the problem. What we noticed is most of the MSMEs, they were completely lost. For them, it was like, okay, I'm used to my stores. How do I get my product online? What is this online? Some language sometimes is a barrier. See, all of us here, we are very comfortable with English. But that's not always the case. We have fantastic products, but they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to bring it in front of audience, whether it was in India or even globally. Okay. Not every product, we have consulted hundreds and hundreds of companies. What we decided was we set up a company which brought everything together, sort of like a very smaller global linker, where we are saying we are going to help you. You focus on your product. We are going to take care of the rest. Okay. We are going to, if you take up your product, it means we believe in your product. We are going to help you. Where, not all products, quite frankly, are going to be successful in the global market. Okay. One of the first questions I used to ask was, how are you doing against the Chinese? This was some years back, but okay, you have a product. Okay, it's a good product. Can you compete with the Chinese? Okay. Otherwise, how do we take it to the US and how do we help you there? Lot of MSMEs, the problems that they are facing, first thing obviously is they understand the core technology, but sometimes they don't have money. If they are able to find sources of money, they're trying to figure out, okay, how do we use the money? It's not enough to just have money. You need to use it efficiently. How do I set up? Who's going to take care of the technology? Who is, what about customer service? How do I handle social media? How do I handle, do I spend huge amounts of money on Google Ads? What actually works? How do I know, okay, if I spend money here, it's a much better solution for me than spending it elsewhere. So, the common problems, lack of access to finance, limited technological adaptation, inadequate skilled workforce. When you're a small company, you can't hire the best. You wish you could, but the reality is they cost more. It's better to come in and instead of getting somebody full-time, getting in the expertise that you need from a company that is going to do these things for you, that is going to partner with you, rather than treat you as a vendor. The other one would be regulatory compliance. The fifth one, limited market access to information, to marketing, to supply chain, even understanding where the technology is going. In US and Canada, what I see, they have a limited workforce. So what they do is they focus more on kind of do it yourself. You have your Shopify, you have WooCommerce, you have Wix, you have a number of technologies. But the thing is, you have to sit down and do it. Here we have a lot of people, and I often found that even people from US and Canada, they're like, you know what? Yes, they're making it simple. Yes, I know it's click, drag, drop, whatever it is. But the thing is, I still need to learn these things. And it takes time for me to learn these things. I wish somebody else would just do it for me. It doesn't matter to me. I want to focus on my business. I want somebody else to take care of all the other problems. So, most of the solutions, see, with ONDC, with Global Leader, we are coming up with solutions. What is exciting for me is that India is actually going to potentially make a change. I've seen Amazon, one of the things, I don't know how many people know this, but Amazon also has Cloudtail. Do many of you know about Cloudtail? So what Amazon does is, see, you have a lot of SMEs going in. What you're doing is you're feeding a huge amount of data to Amazon. They also have their own retail arm, Cloudtail. If the product is selling very well, they will sell it through Cloudtail, which means they will essentially, in the long run, what I was noticing was that MSMEs are going to get wiped out. Wiped out not completely, but you understand. All the most profitable products, unless you're in a very niche market, is going to be taken over by Flipkart, which also has a retail arm. Amazon through Cloudtail. When I was looking at all this, I was wondering, okay, what is the solution for it? How, we can't have everybody just disappear and just, everything being focused only on one company or two companies. And I think ONDC is a fantastic solution for that. It needs to get some traction, but I'm seeing that out of India, what is really exciting for me is so many solutions are coming out that's on cutting edge. And hopefully we will become the country that decides, where the next Amazons and everybody is going to come from. That's pretty much it. If there's any other questions, I'll take care of it. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.
Topic for the panel discussion is artificial intelligence for the real world. I request the panelists. Krishna Chaitanya Puttugunta is a prominent figure in the world of AI-based operation management solutions for fashion and lifestyle brands. As a co-founder of Zapario AI, he has played a pivotal role in revolutionizing the fashion industry by introducing cutting-edge technology into the creative process. With over a decade of industry experience, Krishna has been at the forefront of developing innovative solutions that empower designers and brands to harness the power of generative AI. Through Zeperia, AI's platform, he has enabled designers to seamlessly create custom products and models, ushering in a new era of creative and efficiency in the fashion and lifestyle sectors. Krishna's passion for technology and his commitment to driving change within the industry make him a true visionary in the field of AI-powered AI-powered fashion management solutions. We welcome you, Krishna Chaitanya. Dr. Venugopal, our second panelist, is DGM AI/ML and working with ZF Group. Dr. Venugopal is a seasoned advanced analytics evangelist with over 18 years of experience in various industries. He's a data scientist, economist, and techno-functional consultant, known for covering business problems into analytic solutions. He specializes in manufacturing and market intelligence, enabling organizations to excel with analytics. Driven by his passion, he's established centers for excellence in disruptive technologies like AI and ML and blockchain. His expertise includes generalized linear modeling, time series modeling, and deep learning, and he's a proficient in various data science and engineering tools, including SAS, Python, big data tools like Hadoop and Hive. Currently, he serves as DGM AI/ML with ZF Group. We welcome you, Dr. Venugopal. Som Sundar, our third panelist, Som Sundar Kunduri, is working as a senior director with HR BP lead. Som Sundar, you come on. You and I work in the same HR space. He works with ADP. Som Sundar holds the esteemed position of Senior Director and India in HR Business and Business Partnering, HR BP, and a lead at ADP. With an extensive background in HR, Som Sundar brings a wealth of experience in his role. He is instrumental in guiding ADP's HR strategies and initiatives in India, ensuring that they are closely aligned with the company's overpowering objectives. Som Sundar's leadership and dedication is elevating HR process to make HR practices make him a key contributor to ADP's continued success in the ADP market in India and abroad. Our fourth panelist, Amit Sharma, is the Senior Director of Data Science with Global AI Accelerator, GAIA, and a leadership team working with Ericsson. In his current role, Amit is responsible for building data-driven solutions using AI and ML technologies towards intelligent automation in the telecom domain. Prior to this, he was leading AI/ML capability for ADP in the HR/talent domain. With 24 years of experience in product development and technology leadership, Amit is extremely passionate about design, architecture, data, and loves to solve real-world problems with technology. We welcome all of you. I'm Srilata Shankar. I'll be moderating the session. I am an HR and L&D leader like Som. I have been working in various companies, banking, telecom, IT, and ITES. I also teach HR at MBA colleges. I conduct soft skill workshops for MBA colleges, engineering colleges, and corporate companies. I do a little bit of content writing. I've been dabbling with poetry for the last 5 years. I've written about 37 poems so far. I hope to publish a book soon. I have a creative side to me. I do tangible painting, block printing, tie and dye, and pottery. I have an adventure side to me as well. I have done bungee jumping, paragliding, zip lining, and Tarzan swing. I've added another layer to my personality recently, collaborating with ITTV Global Media. We started a leadership series talk. We've done 3 episodes so far, and I hope to interview all of you, if not all of you, at least most of you. And I hope to touch 100 episodes soon. Thank you. Can you share a specific example of an AI application in your industry that has brought significant change or value?
Firstly, coming from the HR space, representing the HR fraternity, along with Lata over here, thank you for having me, first of all, amongst all the product management community. Oftentimes got tempted to move on to the product side as well. Amit knows this, some of my other fraternity people, Ranjan knows this. So really glad and privileged to be here. Now, on the technology front, I may not be as an expert as all of you sitting here, but definitely on the thought process and approaches on how we can enable and facilitate some of these things as a culture across amongst all the employees in the organization is where my expertise lies in. So coming to the question on what we have done in the space, it's the buzzword right now, but first and foremost, I want to give the context again is we may have a lot of knowledge and expertise with us, each one of us brings to the table, but do we showcase all of it for the reason of showing it, or to really solve some real problems? So for us at ADP, it's majorly, the whole strategy is towards client being a North Star for us. As you know, how do we look at the experiences itself for that matter? What are we delivering for them, right? Ramesh spoke about the experiences of Apple, etc. That was the North Star for them. Functionality, capabilities, we may have all of that, but what are we trying to address? So in that light, keeping that particular aspect in mind, how can we enable and provide better experience for your clients? One of the examples I can share is we have something called as chat summarization. This is something that in one of the products, a lot of our client service reps receive calls, they have to take case notes. It's a manual, tedious process. However, we have lately integrated that. We have integrated the Gen AI into the systems wherein they can focus taking the calls and provide those insightful expertise while addressing their problems and not worry about taking notes, right? The Gen AI tool just captures all the information, summarizes, and it's bye-bye case notes. So that's a major achievement. Imagine the amount of work it saves for the client service reps in providing and just being focused on the call when they take in resoluting, providing resolutions for people who are calling us. So that's one of the examples, at least in the coming from the HCM space, being a HR practitioner, a real life example that we can talk about on the strides that we have already taken at ADP.
Right. I move on to you. What are some unique challenges your industry faces when implementing AI, and how are these being addressed?
Sure, thanks Lata, and thanks for having me, guys. I've worked with ADP for so long that each one of you, I think I can connect with most of you anyways, and happy to be here, so thanks for that. And for the last 4 years, I've been working in telecom domain. Since you guys are abundantly aware of the problems in HR, I'll talk about the telecom domain where we have been trying to and been successful at applying some of the AI solutions. But to her question about what are the challenges faced, let me tell you the problem in the first place, because otherwise I cannot express the challenge contextually. So the problem we are solving are in the sense energy and sustainability. Energy management is a big deal. Nowadays, as we roll out 5G, the problem is these are power hungry devices. To serve better, to give you the bandwidth like 1 Gbps per user kind of a bandwidth throughput, all of it requires a lot of power consumption. And those cell towers you see and those rectangular antennas tilting like a 120-degree angle, those are actually today the ones that connect to you, talk to you like several times in a single millisecond. To be able to do that, it hogs a lot of energy. And to be able to manage that energy, they have these things called sleep modes. So to be able to turn on the sleep mode or turn it off at the right time, depending on the expected traffic or the current traffic, in a way that reduces the energy footprint, but at the same time does not take away the optimal delivery of quality of service should there be a change in the frequency of people, number of people. So all of this takes a lot of computing, and that's what AI is there to solve. Now, in solving this, coming to her question about what are the challenges faced, The challenges are along, again, this is the engineering domain. You know, you're solving telecom problems. So the problems are also that you have to solve them on the edge. If you want to use AI, here you have to have AI kind of a capability. It's far more easier if you have a SaaS-based hosting where you can also deploy your heavy lifting on the SaaS side and have the solutions, the smarts delivered on the edge. But here you have to make a millisecond, microsecond-based decision. So putting it all on the embedded, space is where the challenges lie from a hardware and point of view. From a software and the compute point of view, the amount of data is humongous. And with 5G, as you know, is a higher, a millimeter wave, so a higher frequency kind of a communication carrier. So what happens is with higher frequency, the kind of range that gets reduced. You all know the AM radios used to have like countrywide ranges, while FMs have citywide. And 5G has a few hundred meters, whereas 4G goes in the 2-kilometer range. So because it gets absorbed so fast, there are far more towers and far more these devices which need to now talk to each other and far more data than ever. So if the data plane gets used by its own bandwidth in order to manage itself, that is going to be a big challenge. So apart from putting things into embedded, we also deal with this handling. How can we minimize the data transfer for managing the network itself in an intelligent way, yet provide the optimal energy consumption and quality of service to the end user? Some of the examples, there are so many I could talk all day, but I'll just hand it over to my colleagues now.
Thank you. Dr. Venugopal, moving on to you. In view of in your view, what are the gaps between the potential of AI and its current real-world impact?
As I said, first of all, I want to define what is AI, okay? AI in a nutshell is called a paradigm, okay? So everything starts with data, okay? You have a data, and then the data has to be used for your decision making. So in the process, the first and foremost step is data management. You don't get a cleaned data like what you get a textbook data kind of thing. So the first and foremost thing is the data which has to be managed, okay? And the managed data, we need to generate an insights. So there's a data management, then we need to use it for insight generation, then the whole process has to be automated. So this process of automation is basically most of the processes are messy, and most of the processes are kind of where we do a lot of human intervention, and then we tend to see a lot of mistakes. Then the third and important point is in automation side of it. Then the fourth point here is once you have that, you should also have a predictability of the data. The data what you have should able to predict something in the future, or it can predict if it is a time series kind of thing, we can predict a future, or if it is a cross-sectional kind of thing, we can use the next happening event across the similarity kind of stuff. And once you have a predictability, that predictability should lead to a concept called what you call it as it has to use for a decision making. So if you put all these 5 things together, I call it as a paradigm, okay? Predicting, okay? And then using for results orientation, and then it will be used for all these 5 things will put as a PAIA RIDM, okay? So that's the AI is. And if you ask the particular question about what are the real life use cases of AI, so there are 2 aspects of AI, okay? And this is a context of product management. So there are 2 concepts again here. The first concept is AI product manager and using AI in product management or product development, okay? How can you use, what is the difference between AI product manager and regular product manager? So AI product managers are basically, they generally come from a statistical background, okay? So which uses a data and then try to